The entire world laid in wait for normalcy. And what's more normal than the sights and sounds of the Ann Arbor art fairs in the hot July sun? The art fair directors had tough decisions to make for the health of our community, the vibrancy of local business, and the future of the arts. Joining me is Maureen Riley, Executive Director of the Ann Arbor Street Art Fair, the original, and Frances Todoro, Executive Director of the State Street Area Art Fair. Karen Delhy, Executive Director of the Ann Arbor Summer Art Fair, unfortunately couldn't make it, but expect to see a full array of arts and entertainment at that fair's footprint. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thanks. Hi.
So first, I think I said State Street Area. I think it's just the State Street Art Fair now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I'm sorry about that. I think it just
okay.
I didn't have it written down. It just came out of my mouth. But what I'd first like to talk about is this idea now that there's only 3 fairs. You know, we're only talking to 2 of you today, but we used to talk to 4 of you. Mm-hmm. So how did this sort of come about? But we can still expect to see the same sized art fair this year?
It came about because the South University Area Association, which hosted that art fair, dissolved this past year. And, you know, with all the construction in that area, with all the high-rise housing going up, there isn't a lot of retail at this point. I'm sure it will be back, but at this point, there wasn't enough retail going on to really sustain the association. So with no association, there was no art fair. And the decision was made that the summer art fair, which already goes down State Street and connects to South University, would just round the corner and keep the artists that had chosen to be on South University there, only under the auspices of the summer art fair.
Okay. Well, that sort of clears everything up. And I would like to just mention that we'll miss seeing Maggie around. She was always a pleasure to have in the studio and talk to. So maybe we'll run into her at the fair sometime again. See her in Ann Arbor. So why don't you talk about this uncertainty that you both obviously were dealing with this year? I mean, we thought the fair was going to happen, and then it wasn't going to happen, and then like a last minute, decision, everything, the governor was opening everything up, and you're like, why are we not going to have the art fair this year, right?
Yeah, that was a big thing for the State Street District. When the governor made her announcement, she wasn't even finished talking, and my phone immediately started blowing up with board members and business members and them saying, we got to put this back together again. What do we need to do? How does it happen? Because it's such an important factor in the economic recovery for the downtown.
We tried our darndest to find out what timeline that we would open back up this summer through the governor's office and the Michigan State Health Department. And at that time, the VEX to Normal plan was in place. And there was no telling when we would hit 65% in order to open back up. And so we made the unfortunate decision to cancel based on that, not having any clue that, a week later we would get a date. But we're happy that we do, and we're happy that we're going forward.
Yeah, talk about that idea of I know you guys have to, this is a daunting task to bring the art fairs to Ann Arbor, and you had this whole cloud of uncertainty over your head this whole time. How did you go about the planning process with not really knowing what to do? And I'm sure in your heart of hearts, having canceled 1 year of the art fair, you really did not want to have to cancel 2.
Well, I would say, we at first started to put plans in place to have it, thinking, for sure by July, things are going to be under control. And we juried as if we were going forward. Fortunately, that piece was done for us. And then we stopped, and I think, at least for me, I had laid off all my staff in March of 2020. So once we canceled, that all dissipated, or the search for new staff dissipated. So here we were, and I think pretty much Karen can say the same with Karen, who's not here, that, here we were with no staff in place. So it's been a scramble to try and put this together.
Yeah, I can't even imagine the anxiety you were feeling like with this year's fair. So it is cut down this year too, right? It's 3 days instead of 4.
Yes.
Yes.
And why was that decision made?
I think that it's always been a topic of conversation since we went to Sundays. I think for a lot of our artists and our businesses, the feedback that we were getting was that Sunday never became that boon of crowd size that we had thought we would get. We had a few good years, but many of those were because the rain on the other days kept people at home. So when Sunday was beautiful, everybody came. So the idea, the thought process was, we're doing this last minute, it's a scramble, we know the crowd may not be there. So we just took the opportunity to cut the day.
Do you foresee this being something that you do in the future, or we might see that 4th day again sometime?
I think for us, we'd be interested in seeing the feedback after the fair.
Mm-hmm.
And artists have for years voiced their preference for it being 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them feel that being out on the street for those long hours for 4 days is just too taxing.
Mm-hmm.
So this shift to 3 days has made most of the artists pretty happy.
When you think
Mm-hmm.
about just being outside in July, nonstop, all day long, it's got to be like by the end of that, and you're tearing down all your artwork at the end,
Mm-hmm.
you got to feel like I need a week or 2 off. Before
I feel like that.
I'm sure you do. I hope you both take a week or 2 off after the art fairs every year. Before, when we were scheduling this interview, this was a time when the art fair wasn't going to happen, and we were
Mm-hmm.
talking about ways that we can support the arts. And I think I want to still talk about this because it's important, because we never know. Honestly, we know now that we never know what the future will hold, but I think it's important that we recognize that the arts played a really important part in all of our lives during this time where we were stuck at home. And we need to be able to support people that are creating the arts all the time. And can you talk about that idea, and why should we make sure that we're supporting artists, because they're not always getting supported?
The world went virtual for the past year, whether it was the ARC doing virtual concerts, or the artists. I think we each did a little bit of a different plan on how we supported our artists virtually this in the in the cancellation season. They also learned how to deal with being virtual. The difference between the beginning of summer and the difference between the number of artists that were prepared to do on website sales and conduct business virtually at the beginning of the summer, and the end of the summer was totally different. They scrambled to make themselves available to the public, but that's one of the best ways. And I know we have links to all of our artist websites on our website, which can be linked to from the Ann Arbor ArtFair.com.
Frances, did you want to add on there?
I think we had a lot of our artists that we did social media with, and we included them also for the first time in our Moonlight Madness event around Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
And some of our artists had their online business just really take off during this time period. And I think that it's a great way, now that we are having the fair again, if you come out and you connect personally with that artist, and just keep in mind that that is a way that you can continue the relationship is with them online and following their work and what they do.
I try to look for the bright side of this whole scenario we've been in this whole time. And I think one of the biggest bright spots is that people have really learned how to bring their businesses up a notch. Mm-hmm. and have that online presence, because we're in 2021. You can't have a business without being able to look at it online, or restaurants or stores where you can't order online and curbside pickup. Yes. I foresee all of this stuff continuing to happen because this is the way we want our life to be. It's a convenience. And we talk about arts, but we also need to talk about local business, because local business is so important. And we've seen a lot of local businesses have to close their doors this past year. And we want to make sure, I'm actually representing right now, local Dawn Treader.
There you go.
So I just want to make sure that we are shopping in Ann Arbor, we're shopping local, and how we can, support the businesses at the art fair, but always support them even during tough times.
Absolutely. Yeah. The businesses are excited to be able to come out during art fair again and be there and see everybody. But I do believe we're going to see a change, like you're saying, with the local pickup and ordering. And so we may see some parking spaces permanently change to 15-minute pickup and delivery. Those discussions are out there because it's become popular. And after 15 months, it just changes culture altogether.
Yeah, completely. And it's that same idea that, we're talking about it at the city of Ann Arbor. Like, you can't go from being someone that works at home 100% of the time to someone that goes into the office 100% of the time now.
Exactly.
Far too much time has elapsed, and now people expect a certain things in their life. They expect curbside pickup. They might expect to work from home a few hours a week, and that's just how our life has changed. But I think in some ways it's for the better, really. Yeah,
I think we're going to see that transition very soon.
Yeah. And I think I think it'll help our local businesses thrive more, because people will be like, oh, I don't have to really park downtown and walk far. I can park outside of Dawn Treader. The person's going to bring the books out to me and I'm done and I can drive home, like that sort of thing. That is a great option for everyone. Before the show, we were sort of talking about, because it was a rush. This year was like you had uncertainty, you didn't know. So you, Frances, don't particularly have a featured artist this year. I don't know about you, Mo. If you do, please talk about it. But I'd like to know about what to expect this year. What kind of art are we seeing this year?
Well, I do have a featured artist, and it was the artist that was selected to be the featured artist in 2020. And then when the show was canceled, we kept it on hold until 2021. And the artist's name is Betsy Best, and it's a print. It's very vibrant and colorful, and I think people are really going to like it. As far as, that there's always great art throughout the art fair, and that's going to be the same this year. Booths will be spaced a little further apart, but our footprint is still the same. And that was really done so that people would feel more comfortable walking. And I did want to just circle back and say, Karen's not here to representing the summer art fair, but tying into the artist and local businesses, one of the things they did was open up the Gutman Gallery this year. And they have been featuring a lot of the artists that they showcase in the art fair.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned Karen, because it's unfortunate that she can't be here today. She wanted to be here with us, and we don't want to leave her out either. She's a big part of this, and we care about her fair. We want it to thrive like your fairs. You talk about spacing out the booths and stuff. So are there less artists and merchants this year? And are there any other safety protocols that you have in place other than the spacing of the booths? I don't know where people's comfort levels are. I think it's a mixed bag at this point.
Yeah, we will have less artists because we will be spacing the booths out just to give folks space. But we will have the same number of merchants participating, so that won't be changing. But I think that, we're going to have the hand sanitizer and all of those things dispersed so people can feel comfortable with that. If they feel that they will be more comfortable wearing a mask, they're welcome to do that. And we're going to encourage the artists to monitor how many people are in their booths. The big thing for that too is, since the booths will be standing alone in State Street, they can open all three sides. So it really is going to be an open air kind of environment if they so choose to have it that way. But those are the types of things that we're doing in State Street to help people feel comfortable.
Well, I had just talked with the Ann Arbor Summer Festival rep, and I had mentioned something about, they usually have food and stuff at the Summer Festival. Are you guys going to have food vendors this year?
No, we will not. We will have just our restaurants that traditionally come
Mhm.
out. But we won't be having, originally we were supposed to debut a food truck rally in 2020. And we're not doing that this year. We're going to hold that off.
Yeah, the university will not be doing their traditional food courts at the Union and the League. And Main Street Area Association is not doing their food court on, is it Liberty? I'm not exactly sure. So basically, other than the restaurants in Ann Arbor, there will be no food options. We're also sadly—
That's a good thing to
Go
know
ahead.
too.
Yeah, and sadly, because of COVID and the need to try and keep people distanced, we originally canceled all of our extraneous activities, like the youth art or the kids art area, the demo zone, the stage. All the stages were all canceled in our original plan before we canceled. And unfortunately, with this short notice, there's just not time to bring those elements back. Plus, we want to be safe, and that means, keeping any area where people would tend to congregate unavailable this year.
Well, and honestly, I mean, I have a kid that's not vaccinated yet. Kids aren't vaccinated yet. Like, I don't want my daughter hanging out with a bunch of people, other kids, if they don't, like in a little cluster. It doesn't make me feel comfortable. So I think that's a good call. I mean, I think we all expected not to have the fair what we would expect in the past, because it was a quick turnaround. And you're thinking about everyone's needs in this situation. You don't want people to show up to the fair and feel like, oh my God, I have to leave. There's just too many people here. I can't handle the situation. You want them to feel like they can walk around and feel comfortable. And like you said, masks are optional. You're outside, obviously. But yeah, it's that idea where you want everyone to be able to enjoy the fair at their own level of comfort.
And I can say that we are requiring our artists who are not vaccinated to wear masks.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
We are not checking passports or anything, but we hope that they voluntarily comply, with the general public that's expected to wear masks if they're not vaccinated.
Yeah. You mentioned you can check out artists on your website. What is the best way to stay in the know? And like, as you visit the art fair, should we be going on the website ahead of time, trying to figure out, where we want to visit, sort of thing?
Another one of the things that had to be abandoned in this short time frame was our printed guide. So we will not have that this year. The best way to get information is through the website, the AnnArborArtFair.com. That has links out to the individual fairs, that has more detailed information that's specific to those fairs. The general information about getting here. There will be shuttles this year. That was up a touch and go for a while, but we will have shuttles. So there'll be shuttles from Briarwood and Huron High School. So
that's where you get everything you need to know. You can actually look up artists and be like, hey, I want to check out this person's booth before I go. And this would actually sort of coincide with that comfort level thing that I was talking about, where if you don't want to peruse the whole fair, you can kind of pick your points that you want to hit up while you go. Absolutely. We talked about maybe sharing some of your favorite moments from art fairs past. Can you think about some of the stuff? I mean, you guys have been you've been at a lot of art fairs in Ann Arbor. Is there something that you really enjoyed or missed that you didn't have as the art fair didn't happen?
It's got to be the people and the artists. They become your friends. You see them only once a year, but actually that's probably more than I see some of my family. So, it's fun to connect. And I know last year when the art fair was going on, I was very melancholy, missing people, and I really love doing it. So when I don't do it, it's sad.
We have a party on the night of move-in. So Wednesday night, we'll have a party for the artists as they arrive. And I think that was a big thing that I missed, because that's the opportunity that they all come back, and the businesses, their representatives come to the party too. So it really is that neighborhood kind of thing that only happens once a year, where, like Maureen said, you get to see friends you haven't seen in a while. So it was that was the big thing I missed.
I'll tell you, I'm going to miss having the CTN booth at the art fair, because that was something that always brought me to the art fair, and I got to meet people, and it was always really fun and funny.
Mhm.
So hopefully in 2022, we'll have all these things back again and feel like we can really have a full-fledged Ann Arbor Art Fair the way it's meant to be, right?
Absolutely.
So before we go, I'd like you both to tell me why people should check out this art fair. We were missing one last year, and now we need to get there and support business. We need to support arts, and we need to support the community.
You nailed it,
Mhm.
Dana. That's why. I mean, and it's time to start working our way back to something of a normal existence. And what better way than to show your support for all of the things you just mentioned.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for the community to come back and, get reconnected with the art fair. It's great that this is our first big event coming out of all of this. And it really gives everyone the opportunity to see the biggest chunk of downtown. You get to walk, just the businesses, the art, everybody is going to be there. It's going to be a really good time.
And, I will mention, I am one of those people that really sort of struggled with how fast things were coming back to normal, because it was so odd for so long. But I went downtown and ate at a restaurant on the patio for the first time this week. And I think it's just that idea of putting yourself out there. I think it's worse just sitting home and thinking about doing things that you haven't done in a year. And if you actually put yourself in the situation, I think it's much more comfortable than you expect.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I want to thank you both for coming on the show and sharing about the 2021 art fair.
Thanks for having us.
It's always a pleasure, Dana.
For more on this and other programs, visit a2gov.org/CTN. Visit youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor to see all that we have to offer. And remember to like, subscribe, and ring that notification. Thanks for watching, and tune in next time to FYI.